rate of change as slope. So assuming a constant rate of change, what is the next point as the pattern continues to the right? So we have a point here, here, and here. And those values are also represented in this table. So this point right here is at -3, 6. This point right here is at 0, 2. And this point right here is 3, -2. And so when we did rate of change, we looked at the change in x and the change in y. So if I start with the change in y right here, to go from 6 to 2, that is a decreasing by 4. To go from 2 to -2, that is also decreasing by 4. And we can assume, because it said constant rate of change, that this will also be decreasing by 4. To look at our change in x, from -3 to 0 is increasing by 3. From 0 to 3 is also increasing by 3. And we can assume, because of the constant rate of change, that we are increasing. So we talked about the rate of change being the change in y over the change in x. So in this case, it is going to be 4/3. And if I'm adding 3 here, my next value would be 6. And if I'm decreasing or subtracting 4 here from -2, it's going to be -6. And so let's look on our graph where we normally think of this as slope to see if that comes out to the same. So when we think of slope, we think of rise over run. So if I start over here and do my rise, remember rise can go down. Rise does not mean increasing, it means vertical change. So our rise is 1, 2, 3, 4 down, which means it's -4, just like we found our change in y here. And our run is to the right 3, so that makes it a +3. If we go down 4 again, and then to the right 3 again, we hit that other point. And so if we want to predict our next point, we can go down 4 again, which goes to right here, and to the right 3. And so our point would be right here, which is in fact 6, -6. So it matches what we predicted in our table. And I have a mistake over here. That should be -4 because we are decreasing by 4. Now it's your turn. What is the change in y and the change in x in our table? So our change in x is 1 and our change in y is 4. So the rate of change is 4/1. How does that look on our graph? You can see we have the point -1, -6, the point 0, -2, and the point 1, 2, and we want to know what the next point is. And on a graph, again, we call that slope. You can see the same values that we had for our rate of change because it is still our change in y is our rise and our change in x is our run. And so what is that next point continuing to the right? So we continue our rise of 4 and our run of 1 to see that we get a point right here, which is at 2, 6. And you can see in our table, if I add 1 to 1, I would get 2, and if I add 4 to 2, I would get 6. So it comes out the same whether we're thinking about it as a rate of change in a table or a slope on a graph.